Hey guys, welcome back. So, I wanted to do a video today on my brush essentials. This is my life. I haven't been on here in a while, and I figured today would be a good day to throw a video up. Of course, it's an inconvenience to others though. Okay, so we'll just get right into it, and I'll show you the brushes as I use them in my routine. So for foundation, I don't pretty much ever use a brush. I always use a beauty blender, and we all know what those look like. And just a warning, all my brushes are going to be super dirty because I just got home from work and I wasn't trying to clean all my brushes before I do this video, so just letting you know ahead of time, it's probably going to be gross, especially my blush brush. Okay, so I use a beauty blender for foundation. After foundation, I do concealer, and I set my concealer under my eyes with the Sedona Lace 217 brush, and I just go under here with my concealer, to set my concealer. And I've had this brush for like 4 years, and it's held up pretty well over the years. It's dirty though, like I said. So I use that for under eye concealer. And after I set my concealer, I set my foundation, and the brush I've been using most recently is the e.l.f. powder brush, and it's the flat top because it just is really soft and packs on powder well because I always set my foundation. My skin type is combination. I'm oily in my T-zone, but like my forehead's really dry. When I don't use this brush to set my powder, I use a kabuki brush like this Sedona Lace one, which is also really disgusting, so apologies for that. I haven't been using this one recently. I don't know why. I've just been really enjoying the e.l.f. brush. So when I'm done with my foundation, I go on to my eyebrows, and this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills number 12 brush. And you know, I brush through my eyebrows, I brush them down. I use the slanted edge for the brow pomade. Prior to that brush, I was using the Makeup Forever one, the 274 straight, which has the spoolie at the one end and then the slant tip at the other end. But when I was done using this, I would wipe it off on a washcloth, and I kind of blew out the bristles like a lot, so they're all scraggly and weird. So I don't really use this one pretty much ever anymore. I just use the Anastasia one. I still use this spoolie though. I like it more. It's bigger, fluffier. It's more fluffy than the Anastasia one. A couple other brushes I don't use all the time, but I like occasionally for blending out foundation, not on my face, like more under my chin area, because I always have to put a lighter color under my chin and on my neck because my neck is lighter than my face, however that works out. This is the Real Techniques sculpting brush and the Real Techniques buffing brush. I like to use them both for just blending out down my neck with cream foundation. I believe these came in a set, or come in sets. Yeah, there's some kind of set situation with these at the drugstore, but these I like a whole lot. They're actually really nice, nicer than I pretty much ever expected. So after I powder my face with regular powder, I blend down my neck with the Morphe E1, this big fluffy brush, and I blend down my neck because, like I said, my foundation is always darker than my neck, so I try to blend it so you can't really, you know, see a foundation line. But this one's really awesome because it's so huge and fluffy, and I really enjoy this brush a lot. I don't use it on my regular face. I don't use it on my face because I feel like it moves my foundation, whereas the flat top one just, you know, stamps it, so it sets it. This one I don't use that. Like I said, I just use it to blend down my neck. So after I'm done with my base, I move on to my eyes. Well, actually, after I've done my base and my brows, I move on to my actual eyeshadow. And I really only use probably 2 brushes and then my fingers. I've really narrowed it down to the brushes that I like the most. So whenever I do any transition shades, I always use the Morphe M504 because it's a lot fluffier. It's like fatter than say a MAC 224. Like, I don't know how much you can really tell, but it's like super fat compared to this one. Or even, what are the brushes similar to that? I think, or like a Sigma E38, it's way bigger than that one. So I use this to just buff foundation into my crease area, like as a transition color, like I said. Did I say 2 eyeshadow brushes? I meant 3. And these are all brushes you've probably seen me use before. But I just wanted to get a video out there of what my everyday go-to brushes are. After I've blended out like a buffing shade in my crease, for more detailed blending, I go in with the MAC 217. I like this one way more than any of the other brands, so I have 2 of them. So the comparable ones are like the E35 from Sigma, which the hairs are a lot longer, and this is more stiff, which I don't really like it that much. And then we have the Morphe M441, which is kind of similar, but also the bristles are longer, which I don't like because this is just easier to get. It's more concentrated with the color. And also the E25 blending brush by Sigma is probably the most similar, but I believe this is synthetic hair, whereas this is like goat hair or whatever, and I like the way this blends out better. And it's also more flexible than the Sigma one. So for my lid color, I usually use 9 times out of 10 I use my finger because I feel like it applies the shadow more, you know, you get more pigment, you get more color payoff. When I want to go for the really foiled look, I use the MAC 239, which used to be more flat than this, but it's kind of blown out because I've used it for so long. But this is the kind of brush that I'll really work a lot of product on and then spray it with Fix Plus and just pat it on my lid to give that to give that foiled effect. I mean, all these brushes I've had, well, at least 60% of these brushes that I'm showing right now I've been using for like at least the last 4 years. After shadow, I usually go to blush and highlight. And the blush brush I use, like I said, it was super disgusting. I'm really sorry, but this thing gets dirty so fast. It's like the white goat hair. It's the natural hair. I don't really like using synthetic hair brushes for blush. I don't feel like it applies the product as well or evenly distributes it like a natural hair brush does. But this is the Sedona Lace 850. Yeah, I've had this brush for a long time, and I mean, I do wash it, but it gets so dirty so fast because it's got the white hairs. So after my blush, I do my highlight, and I use the Morphe M310 fan brush. I occasionally will use this Real Techniques fan brush, but because it's got like the duo fiber, it doesn't really do like, it doesn't get the pigment on as much as this one does. I don't know how to explain it, but it just looks kind of better when I use this fan brush. I also sometimes will use more than one highlight, and I'll use this one first, and then to get like a more concentrated bit of product on my face, I use this. It's literally like a paintbrush fan brush. Yeah, it's from like Michaels. It's just a Lowell Cornell Soft Comfort fan brush. It's literally a paintbrush. It's not a makeup brush. And this was because I never had a fan brush for makeup before, and then I grabbed this because I paint sometimes. It's been a long time, but I saw this, I cleaned it, and then I used it on my face, and it hasn't gone back to my paintbrush pile. At this point, after shadow and all that stuff, this is a brush I use more or less for cleaning up any excess on my face, like fallout or whatever, and this is the Morphe E3. All these Morphe brushes came from when I used to do the subscription service, the Morphe Me brush club thing where they ship you out like, it's $20 a month and they ship you like 5 brushes or, you know, like $50 worth of brushes or something like, I don't know. I don't remember, but I kind of want to sign up again. I just haven't really thought about it too much. But it is really cool, and they do send you some really nice brushes. But yeah, like I said, this is the Morphe E3 and I use it just to like kind of sweep under my eyes if I have fallout, or if I have a lot of chunks of highlight left on my face, I kind of just dust them away with this one. So the only brushes I have left to show you are contouring slash bronzing brushes. This is the MAC 128 SE, and this came with some limited edition collection. I mean, I think they have this is the short handle version. They have the actual regular long handle version, but I use this. I don't contour like hardly ever, but when I do, I like to use this. e.l.f. has a really cool contouring brush. It's like that flat tip one, and this doesn't have a name on it. It just says e.l.f. But that's also really nice to really, you know, line up a nice sharp contour. I think this was like $6 or $8 at, I want to say I got it at Target or something, but I know like certain Walgreens carry e.l.f. and Walmart carries a lot of e.l.f. products too. And the last one is one of my favorite brushes of all time. I don't use it that much because I don't really bronze or contour a lot, but I still really love this brush. It's just, it's so fluffy and it just works really well. But this is the Morphe M527, and it's so huge, like, you know, nice little bronzing brush. It doesn't put too much product on. Like, if you use a brush like this, you're less likely to overload bronzer or whatever you want to use it for. But that's, like I said, that's what I use it for. And sometimes I'll even blend out my contour with this when I do contour. But oh, speaking of contour, this is a Real Techniques contour brush that came in one of those little brush kits that I got. And this is really good too. I really like their texture of bristles, or whatever you want to call it, or whatever kind of hair they're using. I really like those a lot. So they blend out really well, cream or powder. I think that's everything though. If you guys have any questions, let me know down below. And I'm sorry I always have that resting bitch face on, but that's just my neutral expression. I don't do it on purpose. That's just how my face is. And I'm not going to sit there like this and talk the whole time, because that's just fake and annoying, and I'd probably throw up because it looks stupid. Okay, so thanks for watching, you guys. I'll see you next time. If you have any recommendations or you want to ask me something or whatever, just leave a comment or, you know, call me. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next one.